All right, so before I begin, I just want to make sure that I am in the right place. By show of hands, how many of you would like to be able to have a lot more reach and impact in your lives?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. You are in the right place. My name is Ping Jun, and welcome to the Event Codex. They say that success in life is about showing up, and you guys made it here today. So give yourselves a round of applause for being here today. All right, so before I begin, I just want to quickly acknowledge all of you for being here. How many of you would agree that time is probably the most valuable resource that we have?
Absolutely.
Right, thank you. I want to thank all of you for being here, and I will do everything in my power to make it well worth your time. So by the end of this presentation, by the end of this event, what can you expect? What is our focus? So our focus here throughout this entire event is basically these 5 things. I believe that when it comes to running a successful event, it's all about handling these 5 things really, really well. So what are these 5 things? Here it is. Number 1, it's how do you sell the tickets? How do you fill up your event? How do you market it on Facebook? How do you get the butts in seats? And there's a couple of ways doing it. Do you sell tickets on your own? Do you work with an organizer? How do you get the speaking gigs? That's what we're going to be talking about in this very first pillar. Number 2, it's about getting them to show up. In this industry, many times you'll realize that even if you sell the tickets or even if you get them to register, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to show up, especially in today's landscape where everybody's doing events, everybody are doing free events. So the question is, how do you actually get them to show up? I'll be talking about the different stick mechanisms. I'll be talking about the different processes that you want to have in place in order to have them show up. Number 3 is about fulfilling the event. How do you serve your audience at the highest level so that when they leave your event, they will feel like that was the best thing that ever happened for their business and for their personal lives? What are the topics you should be covering, and how do you actually do the training and conduct all of that? I'll be talking about the dry stuff as well, which is like logistics and planning, and how do you have your team in place to really assist and help you fulfill this event, right? How do you negotiate with the hotels to get really good rates, and in some cases have them give you the venue for free? I'll be revealing all of these different strategies. Number 4 would be executing the upsell, and you've probably heard of this many times. The money is in the back end. I'm going to be revealing to you how I've done $1 million weekends, and it's not through the ticket sales, but rather through the back end. I'm going to be showing you different ways, like what should you be talking about before you execute your upsell? What are different types of closes? And how do you get them to really commit and to follow through even once you've sold them the upsell, which is number 4. And number 5 is leveraging the event. There's actually a huge problem in the speaking industry where it's easy to get caught up in this never-ending cycle and loop of just speaking and fulfilling events. There's many speakers out there where all they're doing is they're just speaking, they're getting paid, and it's actually really easy to get comfortable in that loop of doing that circus show of, doing an event and then they go to a different city, and then it's because there's no leverage. I'm going to be showing you how do you actually leverage your events so that you're actually creating there's a much bigger picture where you're actually leveraging it. It becomes a product. It becomes something much bigger, the business model behind it, right? So basically, these are the 5 pillars that I believe is so crucial when it comes to running a successful event. So here's the thing. Since we'll be spending some time together this weekend, would it be okay with you if I shared with you a little about my story and my background? Would that be all right? Yeah? Okay, thank you. So I've been running events now for 7 years. And fast forward today, I've actually done events and spoke in more than 20 countries all over the world. Some of you might have heard of my story. And one of the things I'm going to be sharing with you today is how I meant that journey of how I started from this really shy, introverted kid to speaking in one of the world's largest stages in front of thousands of people even though English was not my first language, and how I've managed to be able to do all these different events all over the world, even in non-English speaking countries, even in auditoriums, and even in stadiums with thousands of people, where all I'm really doing is I'm sharing my passion, I'm sharing my life story. I have something to offer at the end, and having done more than 200 plus speaking gigs in the last 7 years. I've done the big events, I've done the small events, so I'm going to be sharing with you all the different strategies and the things that I've learned, the mistakes I've made, doing all these different things. But much more than that, what I'm going to be sharing with you is not just about speaking, but rather a very specialized skill, which is really how do you present in 90 minutes, in 2 hours, and have the audience hanging on your every word, and to invest in whatever it is that you have to offer at the end of that presentation. I've done this time and time again in a lot of different events, and I'm going to be showing you how you can be doing it as well, without being salesy or pushy or sleazy or manipulative, without any of those weird NLP languaging, right? Without any of those hypnotic scripts, where you can just be yourself, be authentic, share your story, and have your audience invest in whatever it is that you have to offer at the end. So I'm going to be showing you different things that I've done, something like this. So this is a very typical table rush where I can speak in front of, a few thousand people and have them, rush to the tables and take out their credit cards, and how you can be able to do that as well. I'll be talking about how you can get the gigs and do all of that. So I'm going to be showing you all these different strategies when it comes to getting people to take action when you conduct your very own events, when you do your very own upsells, and have them wanting to work with you at the end of that presentation. So I've done this over and over and over and over again, where I know it all comes down to a system. That's just a set of things that you want to be doing. And it's really because of this thing that I've mastered. It has enabled me to kind of travel the world and share the stage with these different leaders, luminaries, and legends. I've done my events in countries like India with Les Brown, where we visited the Taj Mahal together and met all these different awesome people, really because of just having the ability to speak and conduct events, right? Which is really what this event is all about, so that you can do that and serve your people in your market. So here's the thing people don't see, right? When they see all these different things, when people follow me on Facebook and Instagram, they see the fancy pictures, they see the big crowds, they see all these nice things. But here's the truth. The truth is, this is what people don't see. You see, I was brought up in this very traditional, conservative Asian upbringing. My entire life, I've been told that in order to be successful in life, it's all about studying hard in school, getting good grades so that I can get to a good college. And with the good college degree, get a good job, save more money, spend less money. And most of this advice came from my mother, right? How many of you here have the same mother as me? So for a really long time, I got that advice. So that's me in my dad's trunk. And here's my dad. My dad is actually one of the most hardworking people in the world that I know of. My father worked on 2 jobs for 13 years of his life. For 13 years, he had a 9-to-5 with the government of Malaysia. And after his 9-to-5 job, my dad would work on a farm. And on weekends, what weekends? There were no weekends. My father would bring my brother and I, and one of the things he would do is he would bring my brother and I every single year to the same exact spot in the farm, and he would make us hold up this signboard to show how old this farm is. And he would be really proud of this farm, and he would always, tell his friends how proud he was seeing his kids and trees and the fruits all grow up together. And this was the first 10 years of growing up and being on the farm. And so my entire life, I want you to kind of understand that my parents, both my parents, They were not entrepreneurs. In fact, their entire lives, they worked with the government of Malaysia. They were government servants. So I've always been conditioned that that's what life is about. You want to be successful? I asked my dad, in fact, when I was growing up and looking at how he worked on a farm, I remember asking my dad this one question. I said, Dad, I want to be successful one day. Like, what do I need to do in order to be successful? I remember this moment so vividly. He looked at me and he said, son, if you want to be successful in life right now, you got to study hard in the school, get good grades so that you can get a good job. And because I didn't want to see my dad remain a farmer for the rest of his life, I always knew I wanted to be successful.